All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nerd Dad podcast. Today's episode is going to be about wrestling and, more importantly, WrestleMania, because today is Friday, the 18th of April, and it is the beginning of WrestleMania weekend. And we are a wrestling household. We love wrestling. Um, I probably love wrestling more than the rest of them, but we all love wrestling. And so it's kind of like holy, a high holy week in this house. I know that's kind of sacrilegious to say for some people, but it's how we feel. We kind of celebrate wrestling in this house. It's a lot of fun for us. We make a big deal of it. We make special meals for it. We all get together and sit down together and watch the pay-per-views, and we have a lot of fun with it. And it's WrestleMania weekend, and so we're excited about it. So it makes sense that since it's the beginning of the podcast and it happens to coincide with WrestleMania, that I do my first podcast on this. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Tonight is SmackDown, and we're gonna start with that. But actually, we're gonna start with a few other things. Actually, I am. I don't know if I'm in the minority or not. Maybe I am. I'm not a big fan of the fact that they've switched over to doing two nights for WrestleMania every year, and they're, I guess, talking about doing two nights for, I think they're talking about doing two nights for either SummerSlam or Survivor Series, one of those two, I think, and moving forward, and they don't seem to have any intention of going back to one night for WrestleMania. Not a big fan. Um, it's to me, it's a money grab and nothing more. Um, in my opinion, with a 3 hour SmackDown, it used to be 3 hours for Raw and 2 hours for SmackDown. Now it's 3 hours for SmackDown and about 2.5 hours for Monday Night Raw. So almost 6 hours a week just for those two shows. And they have a hard enough time filling those hours with wrestling. There's a lot of filler in there, a lot of time spent just talking, a lot of time spent with video packages and recaps. The recaps is what really gets me, is they spend so much time just telling you, hey, this is what happened last week or 2 weeks ago or a month ago. And I get that they're doing that partially to uh, fill people in that are new customers, and they're hoping for new customers that are brought in, and they want to bring people up to speed. I get that, and there's a place for that. But for those of us that are loyal customers that have been watching week in and week out, that's just filler. That's just stuff that I've seen every week because they show it every single week. And now I'm sitting through the same story that I've been told over and over again constantly. And that's just boring. And it starts to lose my attention. So, not a fan. And so when they do that on the weekly shows, and then they're saying, okay, now we're going to do two nights of WrestleMania, and both nights are going to be 4 hours long. How? How are you going to fill 4 hours a night, two nights in a row? You can't do it for 3 hours in one night. That just, and I know that a good portion of that is going to be a video package that's going to recap the last 3 months worth of story that led up to this match, and then it's going to be 10 minutes of both wrestlers coming to the ring. and it's gonna be, because one of them is gonna have a special entrance with you know, with some band singing them in, which is fine once in a while, but it's unnecessary. I don't mind it for WrestleMania. Not a huge deal once in a while for one or two of them, but 4 hours. You have to fill 4 hours, and that's just too much. And they want to do it for 2 nights. And then I saw a post the other day from uh, that was saying that WrestleMania weekend was going to be 18 hours because it was going to be 9 hours both days, but that was 9 hours included you know the 4 hours of WrestleMania plus 3 hours of the pre-show and 2 hours of the post-show, and I'm like, who's watching that? Seriously, who's watching 3 hours of a pre-show for WrestleMania? Because that pre-show is literally nothing but the recap of everything that's happened over the last 3 months, 4 months, whatever. Which again is nothing but filler if you've been watching. I get again new customers. They're hoping that new customers are coming in. They do a lot of work trying to convince new people that have never watched to tune into the show. And those new customers are gonna hopefully they're hoping tune into the pre-show, and that now these 3 hours are worth it because these 3 hours are going to get them up to speed on everything that's happened on all of the different storylines they're running, and that's helpful. I get that, but for me, the casual fan, not even casual, I'm a invested fan, but me, the already invested fan, I'm not watching 3 hours of you telling me everything that I already know. That's too much. And let's say I did watch that 3 hours and then 4 hours of wrestling. I'm exhausted. I'm not going to sit through another 2 hours of people just talking about what just happened. I'm going to bed. I'm exhausted. And I've got another 4 hours of wrestling, plus maybe I'm watching 3 hours of pre show again tomorrow. So I'm not watching 2 hours of post show. That's ridiculous. I get they're trying, and the 2 hours is a press conference basically, and I know they're trying to make it more legitimate, make it seem like a real sport, like boxing and things like that and everything, but it's not. It's not a real sport. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying that the things that they do aren't real, that they're not like real athletes, because they absolutely are. They are more, the things they do are more athletic than most athletes out there. But it's there's no need for a press conference. There's just not in the way that they do it. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the 2 nights. I think it's ridiculous. I think they should go back to one night. I don't mind if that one night of WrestleMania ends up being a 5 hour show, so they can fit all the matches in. But you know, make that do that for WrestleMania for the big four. WrestleMania, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, the big four ones, make it a 4 or 5 hour show. And then the rest of them can be the 3 hour shows like they used to be. And then just be done with it. If you have to do a few extra pay-per-views throughout the year to get the stories across, then fine. But there's no need for 2 hour, 2 night shows like this. It's just unnecessary. It's a power grab. It's a money grab. All right. But that's my thoughts on that. So tonight, SmackDown. Let's see. What do I have here? We're gonna have John Cena's coming back tonight. He hasn't been there for the last. Let's see. Wasn't there last week or on Monday Night Raw. I think it's been a week and a half or two since he's been there. So that'll be good. I think they've done a really good job with his heel turn. I think most people didn't see it coming. I saw it coming. My wife can attest to that. She was sitting right here when it happened, and I told her, I said, I bet you he's going to turn heel. He's going to turn on Cody. And she said, no. Even she said, no, it's not. That's not going to happen. That's ridiculous. I said, no, I bet you it's going to happen. And then it happened, and she just looked at me like, how did you know that? And I saw it coming. I thought, man, that would be like the biggest swerve in history. That would be perfect. That would throw everybody off, and it would be fantastic. And then it happened, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I called that. But yeah, I think it's been perfect. I think it's been fantastic. I think it has made Cody look better. I think it has made the whole story better. Um, I'm not 100% sure how I think things are going to go here. Part of me really hopes that he's going to win. I've always hoped that he was going to eventually get his 17th championship. I've always been a John Cena fan since day one. Thought he was thought he was an excellent character, excellent worker. Um, no matter what he did, I always enjoyed him. I don't know if he wins at WrestleMania or not. I think eventually, one way or the other, he will win and take the title. I think I think a good storyline would be that he does win the title at some point in time, whether it's WrestleMania or not, and actually retires with it. And that would be, and then they use that as a catalyst to then uh, introduce a new title. I think that would be a great way to retire this title. Say, it's had a good run. It's time to, and I don't think retire in the sense of, end the lineage. I think just a redesign. They redesign. They come out with a new design for the title every 10, 15 years or so, maybe even less often than that. And it's been a while. I think it's about time for a new design, and I think this would be the perfect way to do it. Is have him retire with the title, and then just have them come out with a new design, and we can kind of play it up as if it's a brand new title with a new lineage for a little while, and then just kind of quietly reintroduce the lineage again and pretend like it never happened. They do that all the time because unfortunately the vast majority of wrestling fans have a very short memory span. Um, but I think that would be funny. I think that would be entertaining. Um, but yeah, I think that'd be fun. I don't know if it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I think it might. I think he might win, and I would be okay with that because I love Cody. I think he's done a great job. I think he's an okay wrestler. I don't know that he's an amazing wrestler, but he's a decent wrestler, and he's done a really good job as a champion. But I think that the two of them together have been really good. But I think that Cena beating him and taking the title would make for good TV. As long as Cena is gonna be around, that's my biggest issue. Because I don't care who the champion is, I am never gonna be okay with a part-time champion. It really doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Cena, Cody, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I don't care if they're not going to be there, if they're not going to show up. I'm not going to be okay with it. I'm never going to be okay with that. So, yes, Cena's going to return tonight. We're also going to have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. That's always it's a fun match, I guess. I don't know. When they introduced it several years back, it was at WrestleMania, and they made it seem like it was going to be a big deal, but they've never done anything with it ever. They made it seem like it was going to be a big deal. Like people that won it were going to get like this big catapult, and they were going to get this big push. But I don't think a single person that's ever won it has ever gone anywhere with it. Um, in fact, I think most of the people that have won it have gone on to just kind of disappear. I mean, perfect example. The only person I can remember off the top of my head that has won that match is Baron Corbin. And I mean, look at him. He basically disappeared off the face of the earth. I mean, I mean, it's not. It's a fun match to watch because it's a battle royal and everybody loves a good battle royal. But other than that, it's just a wasteful match. It's so much so that I think it lasted on WrestleMania for what 1 or 2 years at most, and then they delegated it down to SmackDown. But it's a fun match, so it'll be fun to watch. And then there's the tag team championship match, which is I think it's a street fight, right? No, not this one. This is just the Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Guns. Should be a fun match. Should be a good match. The the build up for it's been kind of lackluster. It was kind of put together at the last minute. Still looks like it's going to be cool. It's going to be a good match. My biggest issue is why is this happening on SmackDown? And this happens every year. Um, there's always at least one, if not two, matches, title matches, no less, that are either not happening at all or are happening on SmackDown and not WrestleMania. And why? Why is there any title that is not being defended at the show of shows, that at WrestleMania? It doesn't make sense. And what's worse is we have a match that's happening on night one of WrestleMania that really doesn't belong on WrestleMania. And I'll Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Um, Anybody that knows me knows I'm not a big fan of Jade Cargill. She's not a good wrestler. I'm sorry, she's just not. I have um, I've been watching Jade Cargill since she first debuted in AEW. I've watched both WWE and AEW. I've watched AEW since the very first show that they ever put on. Excellent product. Um, Jade Cargill, not a good wrestler. Now, I will admit, since she has come back this last time from the injury, when she was thrown into the car by Naomi, this was all a storyline. But since she came back from that kayfabe injury, she has been better. I'll be the first one to admit it because I have screamed from the mountaintops how horrible she is. So I will absolutely admit she's been better since she came back, but she's still not good. She's just not a good wrestler. She looks the part. She does. She looks fantastic, but she's just not a good wrestler. She's not good on the mic. She's not good on the mat. She's just not a good wrestler. And this storyline is not good. The build up for it was not good. The promos have not been good. They've been weak. It's just not a good story. It's not good wrestling. It has no business being on WrestleMania. That match belongs on SmackDown. Honest at best, really, that match belongs on NXT, where because Jade belongs on NXT, if anything, until she learns how to wrestle, and she hasn't yet. So that match should be moved off of WrestleMania so that they make room for a title match like the tag team titles for the Street Profits, where it belongs. Also, I think what there's another title. I think isn't there? Yeah, the women's Intercontinental title also is not being defended at WrestleMania. They took the time to the women's, actually both the women's U.S. and the women's Intercontinental title, both that they just introduced this last year. Neither of them are being defended on SmackDown or WrestleMania. They took the time to introduce these new mid card titles for the women, which is awesome. Love that they did that. And now they're just there. It's great that they're featured on TV. That's awesome. But now they're not bothering to put them on the pay per views. They're not bothering to put them uh, on WrestleMania. And what better way to show us that they care about those titles than to put them immediately in WrestleMania? You know, so that's a problem. And again, they put this Jade versus Naomi match on night one, and it doesn't belong there. It really doesn't. I also don't think AJ versus Logan Paul belongs in WrestleMania. Um, Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit biased. I don't like Logan Paul. He's a trash human being, and I just don't like him. But it's, but beyond that, I'll admit it. He has talent. He does. So, skill wise, that match is going to be good. It is. AJ Styles, very talented, excellent wrestler. Logan Paul, very talented. Those two in a match, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But the build up for that match is kind of non existent. So that could have been put on SmackDown or could have waited till Backlash or something else. There's no reason for that to be on WrestleMania. So we could have waited for that and instead put one of the women's mid card titles. Or, maybe shortened one of the other matches so that we have more time for the women's mid card titles. But all right, so that's what we have for SmackDown tonight. We have the tag team titles on the line. Again, wish it was happening on WrestleMania, but it's not. I expect that the Street Profits are going to win. That is my prediction there, but we'll see. All right, so night one of WrestleMania, the card is let's see, we have Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. I love this match, I really do. Uh, Also, a match that doesn't necessarily have to be at WrestleMania. Kind of love the match in and of itself. Don't think it needs to be at WrestleMania. Could have been at SmackDown. So here's another one that could have been swapped out for one of the mid card women's titles. But I love this match. I'm a little bit disappointed that they seem to have caved in a little bit on El Grande Americano. Uh, they were when they first started with this. Everybody knows El Grande Americano is Chad Gable, and they were announcing El Grande Americano as being from the Gulf of America. And apparently, there was some backlash from the Mexican community about that, complaining that they were announcing him from the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico. So apparently, they've recently changed that, and they've started announcing him from the Gulf of Mexico. I'm a little bit disappointed in that. We all know where this was going. We all know he was eventually going to be exposed as being Chad Gable, and all this was going to go away. We all know this was all just making fun of Trump and the Gulf of America thing. So I think caving on that was a little bit too soon. Because again, we all know it was just a parody. It was just making fun of it. I understand wanting to make the Mexican community happy and everything, because again, it is a parody. But if they don't understand that, if they don't see that, and if they feel offended, then you need to change. But I am a little disappointed that it got changed. That being said, I think this character is great. I hope that it gets I hope it gets the traction that it. I hope it continues the way it goes. My uh, my prediction here is that Ray's going to win. Actually, no. Actually, my prediction here is that El Grande is going to win, but that after the match, he's going to get exposed as Chad Gable. That being said, I think that he is going to try to spin it either then or maybe on Monday. He'll try to spin that as, the real El Grande was sick, so Chad Gable dressed up as him to take his place. He's gonna try and spin it somehow and gaslight everybody to pretend like it was like he's still not El Grande and or something like that, and try to keep it going. And I think that'll be entertaining. So we'll see what happens. Um, the next thing I have on my list, again, none of these are in any specific order. I don't know what order the matches will actually be in. But the next thing I have on my list is the Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Again, not a big fan of Jade Cargill, but I expect that she's going to win. Uh, I'm hoping it'll be a better match than her matches in the past have been, because again, she has been doing better. But she's not a great wrestler. I don't expect this match to go long, because though she has been doing better, she still is not great. So I don't expect them to give her a lot of time. If you go back and watch most of her matches in the past, especially when she was actually just any of her matches really, any of her single matches, you'll notice they mostly lasted for about a minute and a half to 2 minutes. Any of her tag team matches when she was teaming with Bianca Belair, you'll notice that she never stayed in the ring for longer than about a minute at most. Mostly Bianca Belair did all of the work. The reason for that was because even WWE knew she was not a very good wrestler. And they didn't want her in the ring for very long, because if she was in the ring for too long, everybody would figure out that she wasn't a good wrestler. So they had Bianca Belair stay in the ring, and when Jade got in the ring, she would do something really quick and then get out of the ring, or she would get in the ring and finish the match because she would do one move and make the pin. But again, she's gotten better. She has. I've noticed that, and so I expect the match will go maybe 5 minutes, maybe a little over. I don't expect it'll go much longer than that, but I expect she'll win. Let's see. We have the uh, War Raiders versus the New Day for the Tag Team Championships. I expect that'll be a good match. I don't expect it'll be super long, but I expect probably about 10-15 minutes. And I don't know, I'm about 50-50 on that. I think the New Day might pull it off. Uh, they're, they've got this new, they just did this heel turn, and I think they might pull out the win on this to kind of make that heel turn worth it. And I think that'll be good. We've got the U.S. Championship with LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. That should be really good. Um, I'm a little tossed on that one. Jacob Fatu has an undefeated streak right now in singles competition, and I don't know if WWE is willing to put that to an end yet. But I also don't know if they're willing to put a title on Fatu yet. So I don't know. I think maybe they are. I think Jacob Fatu comes out with the win on that one. But maybe via disqualification. I think maybe he wins with a disqualification with no title. Um, have the we have the WWE Women's Championship with Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. I I really hope Tiffany Stratton wins this. I don't think she's going to. I think Charlotte Flair is going to win. I really don't want that to happen. I do not like Charlotte Flair. Not she's not talented. She has zero talent. She's not good on the mic. She's not a good wrestler. The only reason she's there at all, the only reason she has any of the titles she has is because of her father. I'm sorry. I know not a lot of people agree with me on that one, but watch her. Watch her in the ring. She makes mistakes constantly. She misses her moves. When she does her moonsaults, she constantly messes up and misses. Uh, when she does her chops and things like that, it's so obvious that she's not even coming close to hitting them. Now, some of that can be chalked up to bad camera angles, but some of it is just she's not really good at her job. She's just not good. Um, she's horrible on the mic. She's not a good actor. Um, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but a few years ago they tried to turn her face, try to make her a good guy, and she was really bad at it. Like she was supposed to be a good guy, and every while she was the champion, and every time the ref would try to hand her title after a win, she would snatch the title away, and then realize, oh crap, I'm supposed to be a good guy, and start to try and change her attitude again because she doesn't know how to act like a good guy. She's not good. Um, but they keep just handing her title opportunities and handing her everything because why not? And I hate it. I really do. But who knows? I'm hoping that she's not going to win, but I have my doubts. But we'll see. Um, we have the World Championship with Gunther versus Jey Uso. I think Jey Uso's going to win this. I hope Jey Uso's going to win this. I really do. Um, I think all of the times that Jey Uso has been put in championship matches of one sort of or another over the last year or two and lost, and we all thought we were being jerked around. I think it's all been leading up to this. I really do. I think that they have been teasing us and letting us down on purpose, leading to this moment so that they can finally pay off all of that hard work for this moment right here. And I think it's going to work. Um, I think he's ready. I think that it's time. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Gunther. Um, I understand that he's a workhorse. I understand that he goes out and does what he's told and all that, but all he really does is just chops. Like he's a one hit wonder. He goes out, he does chops, and then that's it. And then he gets the crap beat out of him, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, even when he's beaten and about to get pinned and has nothing left, randomly out of nowhere, just hits a power bomb that doesn't seem possible and just wins, and it makes no sense. And that happens in every single match, no matter what, and it makes no sense, and I don't like it. And I really don't like long, really long title reigns like this. So I think it's time for him to lose the title. I think that it's time to get somebody more enigmatic and more charismatic with the title. And I think that if Cena is potentially going to win the title, Jey Uso winning the title at the same time would be a perfect way to do it. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm also not thrilled with the fact that that match is clearly not going to be the main event. Um, Also, the Tiffany and Charlotte match is not the main event because those two matches, both on the same night, by the way, should be the main events. The whole point of the Royal Rumble has always been that the winners are in the main event of WrestleMania. And now that there are two nights of WrestleMania, there can be two main events, one night and one the other night, the next night, and both winners are neither winner are in the main event, and that just drives me nuts. But it is what it is, I guess. Um, so the final match for night one is Roman versus Seth versus CM Punk. This match has been built up, probably one of the best build ups, other than Jay and Gunther and CM and Cena and Cody. This is probably the best build up for WrestleMania. Um, I love this match and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman can do no wrong. That man is amazing. He does more storytelling with his face than anybody else does with anything they do. Nobody does more storytelling with their words than Paul Heyman does with his face. It's fantastic. And I think I don't know. I don't know who's going to win this match. I I think they're trying. I think they've succeeded in making it hard for us to figure out who's going to win this match because everybody thinks that he's in Punk's corner, but now they've got us thinking that he owes Seth Rollins a favor, and everybody thinks that he's not in Roman's corner, but I don't think he's in anybody's corner. I think he's just there. I think he still cares about Roman. I think he's there, and I don't think he's really in anybody's corner. Because I think when it comes right down to it, Paul Heyman is out for himself. So I think whoever is gonna get him money is who he's for. Um, and I don't know who that's gonna be. So I don't know who's gonna win this match. I really don't. If I had to put money on it, I think I would pick Seth Rollins. Just because I think Roman Roman is going to be so preoccupied with Punk and Roman and whatever's going on there. And Punk is going to be preoccupied with the same thing. I think Seth is going to be able to kind of sneak in and take the win. Let's see. Night two. Night two, we have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Again, if I'm being honest, I couldn't care less about this match. I don't like Logan Paul. AJ Styles is an excellent wrestler, but he's been so absent from wrestling lately that I just don't care. If somebody pushed me for a decision on this, I'm gonna have to say AJ Styles just because I really hate Logan Paul. Uh, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a street fight. That is going to be a really good match. Uh, And the build up for this, it was a weird build up, but a really brilliant build up. I don't know if the way they built this match, I don't know if this was planned all along or not. Because again, they pulled from stuff that happened like 2 years ago. And I don't know if that stuff was just stuff that happened 2 years ago, and they said, "Hey, this works with the story we're doing, so let's use this," or if the stuff that happened 2 years ago was part of the plan all along. And I love that. I love that I don't know, because that's good storytelling. So I love this. I love this story. Um. So yeah, this is a great storyline. This is a great fight. This is a great match. Who do I want to win? I don't know. Who do I think is going to win? I think it'll end up being Priest. I love the fact that McIntyre stole the necklace off of Priest's neck, because that kind of goes back to when he took uh, the bracelet from CM Punk in the match a few months back. That was kind of a cool callback to that. It just continues the whole, Drew McIntyre's kind of crazy bit, and I like that. The women's tag team championship match: Liv and Raquel versus Bailey and Lyra Valkyrie. Uh, I don't know, the women's tag team champions is I've had a hard time caring about this championship since the day they brought it out, because they've treated it like trash. You know, they they created these championships, and then they just ignored them and treated them like trash since day one. And half the time, I don't even remember they exist. Half the time, I don't remember who the champions are. Um, so I really have a hard time caring about the women's tag team championships. They spend more time with the women's U.S. and Intercontinental titles, which I really appreciate, and yet those aren't on WrestleMania, which makes no sense. I would rather take these women's tag team titles off of WrestleMania and trade them for the U.S. and Intercontinental titles. Um, that being said, um, Liv and Raquel as the champions. Eh, I like Liv. My wife hates her, but I like Liv. Raquel is very just, I don't know, one dimensional and flat for me. She has no personality. She used to, but with Liv Morgan, she's just kind of there and very boring. And I know eventually she's gonna turn on Liv, or Liv's gonna turn on her, or both. And I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I'm waiting for it, because my God, she's just so boring right now. Um, Bailey and Lyra Valkyrie together is just a weird pairing, because I love them both separately, but together just makes no sense. So I don't know. I really don't care about this match. There's been no build up to it. There's no storyline to it. This match can just I think they just threw this match in there because they realized that everything else on the card for night two, other than AJ and Logan, has meaning to it and has a lot of potential to it, and they needed something to break it up. And I get that, because you have to have some ebb and flow to the story. You have to have ebb and flow to the card. That way, after a big match and everybody's all hyped up from a huge match, you have to have something kind of low key for everybody to give everybody a chance to kind of calm down a little bit before another big match. But it also kind of sucks for the people in that match because that means nobody's paying attention, and that's you know, doesn't it suck to be the people in the ring that are working their butts off and nobody's paying attention? But and again, like I like Liv. I know a lot, not everybody does, but I like Liv and Bailey and Lyra Valkyrie and I like all the people in this match, and they work hard and they deserve to be recognized, and they're going to be in there and nobody's going to be paying attention because they're all going to be exhausted from whatever match went before them. It might be the street fight, I don't know, but nobody's going to be paying attention because that match nobody cares about it. Let's see. Next, I've got the Intercontinental title match: Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn versus Dom. We've got two different storylines in this match, which is interesting. We've got Braun Breaker versus Penta, which is a storyline that's just kind of starting out, which is basically that Penta wants the IC title, and there's kind of a budding uh, rivalry between him and Braun, and that's interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Braun Breaker. He's good. Uh, the the barking thing is weird for me. I don't understand that. But other than that, he's okay. I think they are hyping him up to be more than he really is. And again, the barking thing is it's weird for me. Love Penta. Loved him when he was in AEW. Was sad to see him go in AEW, but glad to have him in WWE. And then you have Finn and Dom. Um, Finn and Dom in this match. The only reason they're there is to continue the storyline of the two of them butting heads against each other, and the eventuality of Finn getting kicked out of Judgment Day. We all know it's coming, or at least if you're paying attention, you should know it's coming. Um, Finn's getting kicked out of the Judgment Day, which is a long time coming, and it needs to happen because Finn is an excellent wrestler, and he's getting the shaft right now. He needs to get kicked out of Judgment Day and go back on his own because I think in singles competition by himself without a group, I think he'll do a lot better. So I'm hoping that happens. I'm hoping they pull the trigger on that really soon. So I expect, honestly, with the push they've been given, I think maybe Penta wins this one. I think I think what ends up happening is either Finn or Dom uh, do something. Finn or Dom maybe together take out Braun, and then uh, one of them goes to pin Braun, and the other one stops him. And the two of them start fighting each other, and Penta comes in behind them and takes the pin, or maybe pins one of them. I'm not sure, but I think Penta wins this, and it's because of Finn and Dom fighting each other over it. Let's see, the women's championship with Io, Bianca, and Rhea. I am looking forward to this one, and I really hope what happens. I hope it's a really quick match. I really do. I hope it lasts like 5 minutes, and I hope that Io Sky just completely decimates both Bianca and Rhea Ripley. That way, she can come out on Monday night and just tell them both to go to hell. Say, I told you not to ignore me. I told you not to underestimate me. And then the two of them can go off and have a match against each other or whatever. But I want Io Sky to just decimate the two of them and win the match. And I want her to like decimate them and pin them both at the same time because I think that would be brilliant. Um, and then we have Cody versus Cena for the title. Um, I've seen the rumors that Stone Cold is in Vegas. Um, now we've all seen we all saw last year, or was it 2 years ago? I don't remember, when Cody was getting beat up by The Rock, and the production truck behind him had pictures of Stone Cold and John Cena on the side of the truck. And now Cena is a part of the storyline. And so everybody's waiting, wondering if Stone Cold's going to ever become part of the storyline. So now and I guess about a month or two ago, Stone Cold did post something saying that if Cody needed help, he would be willing to help. And now Stone Cold is in Vegas. So everybody's expecting Stone Cold to show up. I don't know if he will or not. Um, I think he might. I don't know if it'll make a difference. Um, I think it'd be really interesting. I think it'd be funny and a big swerve if he did show up but turned on Cody and he joined in with Cena and The Rock. I think that would be huge. Um, I also saw something the other day that uh, suggested uh, a conspiracy theory, if you will, that Jey Uso was in on everything also, and Cena had already joined The Rock at the Royal Rumble and purposely let Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble. That way, The Rock had two representative champions at Royal Rumble or at WrestleMania because Jey Uso being related to The Rock would have Jey Uso being a champion and John Cena. I don't know if I believe that one, but it's an interesting theory. But yeah, that's the card for WrestleMania. That's my predictions. I'm looking forward to it. We are we're all looking forward to it. We're making nachos tonight for WrestleMania. Tomorrow I'm making smoked birria burgers. Very much looking forward to that. Then Sunday is Easter, so I'm making something it's called egg strata. I make it every year for Easter, and we're doing that for dinner also. So yeah, we're eating good. We're gonna have good food. Oh, excuse me, good food and good times. And we're looking forward to WrestleMania. We'll see how many of my predictions come true, and we're gonna have a good time. But that's about it. That's my episode for today, and we'll see how things go. Have a good. That's it for today. We'll see you next time.